Rock with our brothers, sis. Humble our spirit, our mind, our soul, as we pray to the Almighty, asking for His divine protection always. Hallelujah. O great King on high, the creator and maker of the heaven and earth, the sea, and all the enemies. We thank you, O great King. We thank you for life. We thank you for even blessing us with the knowledge to know thee, to know thy name. We humble ourselves before thee, and we thank you for all the great mercies that you have shown to thy servants. Even as we are here on this earth to help rebuild thy kingdom, we thank you for blessing our root coat, blessing our minds, blessing our souls. Praying that we have not done anything that will stop us from receiving our great mercy, but that you will continuously be compassionate, that you will continuously watch over us and be with us for your high and holy name's sake. Give us the strength that we need to protect our families, to protect our Nashim, our Yeladim, to be upright men even before thee, to do what's pleasing and right before thy eyesight. We ask that you continue to give us healing, that you will continue to strengthen us to be there for one another, to be there for those who may come in contact with us, those who may cross our path. And even when our root coat feels down, we pray that you'll even uplift us and send your guardian Malakim to come and help us even on our journey. I pray that the meeting tonight will be one that will continue to feed our root coats, our spirits, as we continue to dive in our word, knowing that man should not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of thy mouth. And we thank you for the opportunity to have this convocation, this opportunity to have the ability to even open up that Torah. Pray that you continue to be with all the Morim, the Anashim, even all the great men, even the great women, and even the people that you have blessed to even bring glory to thy name. We honor and we respect you, and we thank you for all the goodness that you have shown us. Blessed be thy name, O great King on high, forever and ever. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Selah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. Torah Badon. Dang. So, Akeem, let us go first. Wanted to, of course, just have a conversation in regards to something I've been kind of going over and still in the process of getting an understanding on. Let us go to the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, to the Shema, chapter 6. And can I don't read verses 1 through 9? Ooze, if you're able to read, Akeem.
Cain. Devarim, commonly called Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 1 through 9. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah Elohim commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah Elohim, to guard all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your son's sons, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that ye may increase mightily, as Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers has promised you, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah alone, and you shall love Yahuwah Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Verse 8, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates.
Hallelujah. Okay. You may recall someone say that's our national prayer, right? So, as we all know, the Most High said, You shall love him with all your heart, soul, and might. Yahuwah is one. Yahuwah is El. You shall teach them to your children diligently, right? So when you're teaching, are you not passing down something? You are passing it down from your generation of you learning it to the next generation, right? Okay, love. Basically. So Cain,
Okay.
right? Cain, Torah. So Cain, you are passing down from one generation to the next. He said, so you shall do this. You shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall speak to them when you're in the house, when you're in the house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up, right? So these things should be spoken about, should be talked about, and then passed down. All right. So I just want us to understand that foundation, that the Most High said that we have to teach it to the next generation. So then, can we go to the book of Yeshua, chapter 29, verse 13 and 14? Yeshua, who called me called Isaiah?
Yeshayahu, commonly called Isaiah, chapter 29, starting at verse 13. Wherefore Adonai said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Verse 14, therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent man shall be hid.
Okay, so in this particular scripture, we go from Deuteronomy speaking on the Most High say, you shall teach them to your children, right? The commandments of Elohim, and that when we keep the commands, that is how we fear the Creator. But now, in Isaiah, the Most High said that his fear is taught by the precept of man as if it's a bad thing. So what took place between Deuteronomy and Isaiah to where now passing down or teaching, right? Teaching of the Creator is now seen as bad to the point where the Most High has to take away the wisdom of the wise man. What's going on here? You went from teaching and being commanded to teach. So now all of a sudden the Most High saying, you know what, I don't want y'all teaching no more. Because y'all teaching them how to fear me. The precepts, that word for precept is mitzvah, or mitzvah, right? Command. So what's going on? Okay. That's all?
All right. You're kind of going in and out, but I just want to, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're asking what happened in Isaiah that caused the Most High to say this, correct? Is it possible that the hearts have been turned away and everything was done in vain? It wasn't actually done with righteous intent?
Adon Yirmiyahu.
Yeah, I'm right there with my brother Zaryahu. But as I mentioned, the heart is removed. It's like everything is by rote. It's just a process that people are going through. They really are not drawn near to the Creator because the desire to get to know Him wasn't there. Like we'll say certain things with our mouths, but obviously our actions were something totally contrary to what we were saying. I mean, it's hypocrisy, really. And the Creator is just like, I cannot dwell amongst, this type of two-sidedness. You have to choose a side. I yield.
Okay. So their heart was no longer in it. And as their heart toward the Creator began to be removed, then their heart towards the words of men began to enlarge. So you went from keeping the commands of Elohim and learning of them in order to show your reverence, right, Yirah, or your fear toward the Creator, as well as your love toward the Creator, to now the people have began to lean and yearn for the word of the wise men or their teachers, the one who were teaching or giving the commands over the Creator, right? So this is, to me, a distinction between Torah versus tradition. You have Torah, right? Law, statutes, and commands, which we are commanded to teach, right? So if I teach you thou shalt not kill, I teach you what that means, right? But then if I teach you thou shalt not kill, and then I give you other commands that add on to that, right, to try to expound on that, is that an issue? So what I'm saying is, just hopefully I'm not going in and out again, but just in case, let me condense it. In terms of, you now have the situation where people are taking the word of men. They are being taught how to fear Yah by the word of men, which we know, according to Deuteronomy, we're supposed to teach the commands, right? But it's not a situation where how to do the commands were ever taught, right? Which is where the oral Torah or the Talmud comes in, which this kind of deals with that as well. But even outside of the Talmud, how do you teach your son or your daughter to fear the Creator without expounding on the commands? How did that turn into a bad thing? Azar? Ms. Ray?
It's became more of a fear tactic. It's more do as I say, not as I do kind of mentality, because when our children are seeing us do righteousness and we're telling them how to do righteousness, there's no questioning it. But when we are telling them to do something that we're not doing, then we're giving a false impression, and we're using the Most High to condemn them into following the scripts that we're not doing. So it's more of a fear versus,
Okay. So I get that, right? So the aspect of the hypocrites, right? So now let me throw something back at you. Pause. What if they are righteous, right? So you have somebody who's righteous, but they say that if you're not doing it this way, then you're not doing it correctly at all. And now you are in danger of being condemned to hell. Even though the way that they're doing it, right, could be deemed correct, could be deemed righteous. But they'll go somewhere else and then they'll say, okay, well, y'all not doing it like we're doing it, so you guys obviously don't fear the Creator here. Could that have been Adon Yirmiyah? Yahoo?
Yeah, you got me thinking a little bit. Like you said, Torah versus tradition, right? So we know the Torah. Let's use the example. Zako et Yom HaShabbat l'Chodesh, right? Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. And you can have, as you spoke about the Talmud or someone that may be Orthodox, right? They to the point that you can't even cut on the light switch on Shabbat, or you can't rip off toilet paper on the Shabbat. That's violating the Shabbat, right? And you may feel like that's not violating the Shabbat. So it's like you're serving the Most High, and your heart really has to be into it, right? My thing is always stand by your truth. So if you're saying that you observe the Shabbat this way, let's say, for instance, I don't rip off toilet paper on the Shabbat. Well, you stand by that. But if I in my heart, in my walk, in my journey, don't feel like that is a violation, but I'm still keeping the Shabbat, we have to be very careful to not, in my opinion, to condemn those who may not serve and worship on the level that you may be at. Now, working on the Shabbat is complete violation. There's no way getting around that. There's no ambiguity when you're dealing with that. If you're going to work on the Shabbat, that's violation. But then when you start to get into some of the traditions that you mentioned, my thing is always just stand by your truth. If you saying that's how you want to do it, then that's the way you want to do it. But if it's a little ambiguous, that's when, so I yield, if that makes sense.
Okay, and it makes perfect sense, and I think that was a excellent example known in terms of Shabbat, right? Shabbat is very, very of course it's a sign, it's one of the, I would say, one of the most important aspects of our culture that we have, if not maybe the most, but that's debatable. However, so you have thou shalt remember the Shabbat, keep it set apart, or even guard or keep the Shabbat, right? As it says in Deuteronomy. But then you get to, all right, so how do you do that? We know you don't work, you don't necessarily cook, even though some people would even have that type of conversation. But anyway, right? So you're having different views on how to keep the Shabbat, even though we know certain things like you don't work, you don't have, and of course, you definitely got to gather, so on and so forth, right? So we know the rules. But then you have, as Adon said, you have segments or sects come about where, all right, well, you got to, you have to take your toilet paper out the night before so you're not ripping the toilet paper, or all the lights that you're going to have on during the Shabbat, you got to keep them on. Or you can't start your car and go to the gathering because that's kindling the fire, right? So you have all of these different thoughts come up. And then a man of Yah, I'll say a man of Yah, who actually puts these in place, right? He now begins, and the people now begin to put so much weight on it that it turns into Torah. It goes from halakha, right, or the way that it's walked out, to now that is a part of the first five, right? So that is something that us now coming back into this way, right? Unless you were, 7-8 generations in, you're kind of maybe. I believe the most of us, Yirmiyah probably is the Ak with the most lines in it. But most of us within the nation, I'm talking about the U.S., are maybe at the most 3-4 generations in, right? So we're still coming into this knowledge, into this way. We have to be very careful of where we are and who we're listening to. Now, are all of these things bad? No. Let's go to Tehillim chapter 55, verse 17, real quick. 17 through 19.
Tehillim, commonly called Psalms, chapter 55, verses 17 through 19. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He has delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. Hell shall hear and afflict them, even he that abides of old, Salah, because they have no changes. Therefore they fear not Elohim.
Okay. So he said, morning, noon, and night, Most High, I will pray unto you. You will hear my voice. Another place say, you will hear my voice before the sun come up, right? So let's go to Daniel chapter 6, 7 through 9.
Teach it, Moreh.
Oh, exactly. Okay. So Melech David said, morning, noon, night, you're gonna hear my voice. Most High, you're gonna hear my voice. I'm gonna pray unto you, right? 3 times a day. Now, in Daniel, can we go to Daniel chapter 6, 7 through 9?
Okay, give me a moment, Moreh.
Zayto, I could read it. That one, Akeem. No sweat. Daniel 6, verse 7 through 9. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any Eloah or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish a decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his Eloah as he did aforetime. Okay, so of course we know the rest of the story, but the key part is he prayed 3 times a day. Now we hear Melech David say he prayed 3 times a day. Where in Torah does it say that we are to pray 3 times a day?
I don't recall it being there.
Okay. Me either, though. And I figured you a well-read mighty bed of Yah. And if you haven't seen it, I don't think nobody else seen it. So it's not in there that we should pray 3 times a day. However, we see Melech and we see a man whose righteousness the Most High said would save him in the day of wrath, right? And Daniel. So these 2 men pray 3 times a day, but we don't see it, which then would tell me that somewhere along the line, this became a practice in Israel. Had to be a practice that was widespread enough that where even Melech David was taking part in this. But it's not in Torah. So would that be what we're talking about in terms of this particular conversation of Torah versus tradition? Would that fall in the precepts of men that the Most High was against in the book of Isaiah? Come on now. I know y'all can talk to me. I don't want to talk to y'all all night, even though that's my big guy. Torah Shah.
I'll praise the Most High Yah. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. The way I see it, what we just read, as far as praying 3 times a day, I think that's something, it has to come from the heart, because if you go in Barakah or Leviticus, we talk about, the sacrifices, we can see, Most High, he likes things that are given from the heart, not things that are necessarily forced. So I think, something that's praying, 3 times a day, that's something that has to definitely be given from the heart, because if your heart's not in the right place while you're praying, the Most High, he's not gonna hear you. So yeah, that's my view on that point.
Okay, and you're right. That's absolutely correct. The Most High does want a willing heart from those who are wise at heart. Okay. So would that then in turn be one of those commands or one of those precepts taught by men that the Most High is against? No. Why? Because that actually leads you closer to the Creator, right? And it's not put on the same level as it being Torah. Now I want to go to something else that's similar but different. Definitely on the other end of the spectrum, I'll say that. So 1 Kings chapter 12, I'm gonna start at verse 25. Ooze, if you're not back, I got it.
I got you, Moreh. I got you, Moreh. I'm just really in Daniel, so I couldn't find it for real.
Okay.
So you said 1 Kings what now?
12. 1 Kings chapter 12, we're gonna start at verse 25.
1 Kings chapter 12,
Mm-hmm.
starting at verse 5. And he said unto them, Depart yet for thee. Excuse me. And he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon, his father, while he yet lived, and said, How do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they
Okay.
spake unto you.
Um.
You said 1
Uh.
Kings chapter 12,
Okay. Slackley. Can you go to verse 25?
verse
25 through.
25.
Okay. That's my fault. 25 through 31.
Okay. Melech were shown, commonly called 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 25 through verses 31. Then
Okay.
Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their master, even unto Rehoboam, king of Yehudah. And they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Yehudah. Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Mizraim. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. Verse 31, And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Okay. Told her about okay. So we see here that a king, Jeroboam, right? In his mind, he said, all right, we split. I don't want these people to go to Jerusalem anymore. So I'm about to set this thing up here in Bethel and Dan. So people go to Dan, they began to worship, so on and so forth. He set up a priesthood and everything. He's the first wicked king of the northern kingdom, right? So this occurs. Now, this is his thought. Now, for those who read the New Testament, right, there is a passage there where Yeshua speaks to the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, right? So remember that this starts here in 1 Kings, but the Samaritan woman, she's speaking as if it has always been. Like me and my fathers have always worshipped on this mountain, right? In Samaria. So what started from a king's thought, which was a political ploy, has now turned into this is the truth for us. And if you're not doing this, then you're not doing it correctly. Right? Very similarly, right? And I'm not taking any shots, but we have to speak Amet or truth. Very similarly, there was a chart that's put out that speaks on the identification of tribes based on location in the diaspora, which started out as a ploy to get members, but now was back in 1969. But now in 2022, now you have the situation where people are saying that this is the truth. This is the truth. And if you are not teaching according to this, then you are incorrect. Something that did not have that intention came. Politics of Israel. Something that did not have the intention or thought behind it initially has now become something that we hold dear. Goes back to Torah versus tradition. Now, this is different, of course, than Melech Daud or wherever he may have got the custom from, right? Because that's just the first time that we see it, I believe, is in the book of Tehillim, the praying of 3 times a day. So if that's the case, then somebody thought of that and it caught on. And then it became a custom in Israel or a tradition. But the Most High didn't say that you can't that you cannot, let me see, find ways to get closer to me, right? Prayer 3 times a day, even building the temple. The Most High didn't tell Melech David to build the temple, although based on his heart's desire, he allowed him to. Melech Shlomo praying for us, even when we're in the diaspora, so on and so forth, right? So the Most High allows you to do things to get closer to him. But when those things that were initially for you to get closer become the very thing that then tear you away from him, that's where he has a problem. For example, in the book of Numbers, right? When in one of our many rebellious moments against our creator, where the serpents were there, the Most High had Moshe build the bronze Nakash and put him up on the pole, right? So something that was used in order to atone for the sins of the rebellious minds in the book of Kings, Melech Hezekiah has to destroy the Nakushtan, right? Or that very same symbol, because it became an item of worship. Oh, Adon Yom Yahu, Slakli.
No, you're on the roll, Torah Rabbah. But yeah, just, we really have to make sure that foundation in the Torah is strong, because that will make sure that we're being steered in the right direction. I mean, excellent point when it comes to the praying 3 times a day, right? It's not Torah for us to do that, but you can see the benefit in that. And the overall goal with you communing more with the Creator is going to help build that relationship with him. And as you mentioned, on the contrary, when you're dealing with that Nakushan, or you're dealing with Jeroboam, making these golden calves in Beit El and then Dan, and then changing the holy day from the 7th month to the 8th month on the 15th day to have the people, so the people won't go to Jerusalem. You have to be grounded with your knowledge with the Most High to know this is wrong, so you don't get swept away with the wrath that he was bringing forth. And we have to even be careful today. I remember I taught a few weeks ago, I was speaking about the fast. We only prescribe to observe Yom Kippur, which is the 10th day of the 7th month. If you decide to do any additional fast, it's not Torah. You're not obligated to do so, but you can see the benefit in that. So just ask yourself that question when people are bringing forth traditions that's not Torah-based. Is this something that's going to draw me closer to the Most High to help build the relationship with the Creator, or something that I may bring sin upon myself and my family? I yield.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Torah Abba. Marcus is 812. I'm not sure who that is, but Shalom, Akeem.
Shalom, Akeem. This how you guys doing?
Yo, how you doing? Oh, this is Moreh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at it too, and you're bringing out good points. To your point, that is something that we see a traditional pattern in. And then I was looking at Eliyahu in 1 Kings chapter 18. He was at that point, battling those false prophets. And it says, I believe in verse 36, 30, and 27 of that chapter of 18, that he was performing his duties during the time of the evening sacrifice. And when you look at those points, morning, noon, evening, these are the times where you set your spirit. You set your spirit properly in the morning. You set your spirit properly at high noon. This is where, if you have a job or if you're working, high noon is really your midpoint where you reset, or you try to get your spirit right to move on, to push on further to the end of the day. And at the evening, you're setting your spirit too, because you're setting your spirit to rest. It goes all the way back to Deuteronomy chapter 6. It goes all the way back to Deuteronomy chapter 6. You're setting your spirit. You set your spirit when you get up in the morning, when you walk along the way, and then when you lay down at night. You're setting your spirit to a proper spirit. And if you've given your praise to Yah through the day, you're keeping your mind focused on Him. Those things that you acquire to put your hands to do throughout the day, they should go well with you. And I was just seeing that. I said, well, I looked at Eliyahu and I saw it said something about the evening sacrifice. So like you said, to your point, this is some kind of Hebraic custom or tradition, which is a good benefit. And I yield the floor.
Dang. Torah Abba, Adon, that is Moreh Yirmiyahu, Daud from out of Tennessee. So Shalom Adon, always a pleasure. Okay. And that's an excellent point and ties in with what Adon Yosef said in terms of constant communication with your creator, which is what he told you to have, in a sense anyway, in the Shema. Because if you are speaking of his commands, then you are in constant thought of him. And I like the aspect of setting your spirit, aligning your spirit back in the morning, in the evening, and in the afternoon. Absolutely. Still a tradition, right? So right now, we are in a very, very dangerous time in Israel because a lot of us are waking up, right? So now you have people who are getting there first, in a sense, right? And what I mean by getting there first, they're getting to the podium first. They're getting to the microphone first. They're getting to the stage first. So then everybody else who follows, they see them on stage, and now you have the ability to bring people closer to the Creator or to deter their attention towards yourself. And now create things for the nation that are fool's gold, right? It seems to glitter on the outside, but on the inside is vain and worthless. For example, and sheesh, I'm not gonna touch on it, but
The Spirit is taking you there. Take it there.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna go that far. Okay, so Nadal, I must be obedient, right? So the aspect of Sabbath, right? So the aspect of Sabbath, which is something that I'm sure if you go back there have been many conversations and arguments, especially with us here, right? About when is it, what do we do, so on and so forth, right? We come into this and we follow the people who we see on stage. We follow those who we see on stage. Now, this is disclaimer, I'm not teaching anything as far as contrary. These are just thoughts, right? These are just thoughts. So you go into the aspect of Shabbat, and we come into this walk, we see, all right, boom, seventh day. So on one hand, you got the those who occupy the land right now, and their custom, right? It's Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So we say, all right, boom, they had it. They are the refrigerator for our customs and our culture for the most part, right? So boom, so Friday sundown, Saturday sundown must be it. On the other hand, even if you don't go that way, you look on the calendar, Saturday is the seventh day of the week. So you're like, all right, boom. So either way, this is what it is. And this is how it's been for centuries, hundreds of years, right? Even some would say about 1,500, 1,600 years now. But understanding that this was solidified by Hillel II, right? 400, 4th century AD. So that's in really around the 300-year period, Common Era. So if that's the case, then that was done based on us knowing that we were going into captivity. So are we doing a captive Shabbat? Something that we needed in order to preserve the Shabbat accordingly, so that we can at least try to keep some of our customs, even when we will be disbanded or removed from our land and our customs. Once again, I'm not teaching anything. These are just thoughts. We can build on it later. Right? So if that's the case, then when we see a brother who's doing the Shabbat a different way, or their calculations are this way or that way, and we condemn them for keeping the Shabbat a certain way without understanding or researching or looking into the customs and traditions that we hold and carry today, because we followed the first person who got on stage. And because we don't want to break from the group, or then be seen as a rebel or one who does not adhere to authority, because we do our own thought processes and actually seek the Creator, which was the whole goal in the first place, was to seek your Creator. So that's a thought, right, into what could happen. How it turns people away from serving the Creator, because we are now holding what has been tradition for so long as the absolute, without understanding what the absolute may be. So I go from there to say that there has to be a constant evolution and maturation. I use that word a lot because that's what the Most High has been telling me. You have to mature. You have to mature in order to fully be complete in me. And as you're coming out of darkness into the light, it's not like when you flip on a switch and it go from dark to everything's illuminated. No, this is from Shakir, or Shakor, right? Dark to Arab, then to Bokeh. So from dark to a mixture to light. And if you are, I'm not going to say, I can't say that. If you are hiding behind the one who you follow and you never look for yourself, not saying leave anywhere, but what I am saying is you have to be the one to sharpen iron if need be. Iron sharpen iron. And that's because we're all coming out of this together, because at the end of the day, the Creator is our head until he sends his son from the seed of Daud. So we have to place tradition in its proper place. And nothing trumps the Torah. And as we continue to learn the Torah and learn of the Creator's ways and the ways of our forefathers, right? Seek the old paths. What's that, Jeremiah 16? Seek the old paths and walk therein. Or was that 6? One other. Seek the old paths and walk therein. That's what we got to do. So those are just my thoughts. Once again, just Cain, don't Yahoo, just food for thought, so for us to eat and then meditate and then build with each other on. Because no one knows it all, right? But we all have a piece. But if we never bring our piece to the table, then the puzzle never becomes complete. So with that being said, we can still build. I'll open the floor. I pray that it's been edifying, at least to some degree. And all praise to the Most High. Shalom, Azar. Tosi.
Can you hear me? I don't want my connection to go out again. Can you hear me?
Can Lucky.
Okay.
All right, so now you out, but at least on my end. I'm not sure about everybody else.
can't hear him either.
Yeah, he's out. Can't hear him.
Azar. Okay. We can't hear you out, but as soon as you get right, you can tap in. Moreh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As you know, on that point, to that point, man, I'm a good friend of one of the gentlemen that is in that group that really believes that you are in captivity and you really don't have to observe Yah Shabbat. And I followed this tracing of his teachings, and I followed it all the way to Moreh Elisha out in Cincinnati. And they started this day and night conference teaching. And they bring out some good points of day and night. What you should observe, the sun, or should you observe the moon? Should you count 7 days after the first of the moon, the first sighting of the moon? Then they, point out, Jah says that these signs are in the sky for seasons. And should you go by the light or should you go by the moon? And it became a big, 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 big conference back in the 70s. And a lot of people were very confused about it. And like you said, to your point, is Yah looking at our effort in observing what he says to observe? Even though during this time where we are, we really don't know, but does he look at our intent of observing what he said observe on the seventh day? Okay, we look at the calendar, we see the seventh day. And to your historical point of what you brought out, who brought that whole analysis of from Friday evening to Saturday evening? Yeah, we go back and start looking at history and see who brought that forth. And then, on your end, do you want to put 24 hours aside out of the 144 hours you got through the week, to put 24 hours aside for Yah and just say, okay, it's me and you. I want to build my house around the Sabbath, which is rest, relax, reflect. Rest, relax, reflect on you and all the things that you've done for me this week. 24 hours to the side. I had to come to a point because I was getting attacked so bad because I'm in a defiled land. My house is defiled. These are the things I was told. My house is defiled. Everything I do is defiled. I'm in a defiled land. You can't observe the Shabbat because you are not in a holy place, a holy land. And I got attacked real bad until I just got with the Creator and said, I want to observe what you said to observe. I'm putting 24 hours to the side. I know what 7 days are. And like you said, man, to your point, it's that relationship. It's that relationship, man, at this point, because we don't really know the whole thing. We don't know exactly when. But however, my intent is to put that hours aside for y'all so I can relax, reflect, remember, all of that. And I just had to come to that point because I got, like I said, one of my guys he's in my group and he will contest and he will fight you to the end that you cannot observe it. So don't even try. And I don't know if anybody else have been attacked like that, but I just wanted to share, man, if anybody else have had that. I did some research, and like I said, man, I went all the way back to Moreh Elisha when he was alive. He was teaching this stuff. And come to find out too, man, that they had barbershops open on Saturday. They were cutting hair, getting money, and doing all of that. I think a lot of times people just don't want to observe what Yah says so they can fit their benefit of their life and use the excuse of captivity to cover all grounds. Because I still want to do what I want to do. And that, I'll yield the floor from there.
Okay, and I've had those conversations. Matter of fact, I think I just had one with some elders this past Sabbath, right? So in regards to, not being able to keep it in captivity, so on and so forth. But as you said, the thought is, how much of your heart, soul, and might are you willing to put towards your Creator, right? In terms of, okay, I understand we're in captivity, and I understand the Most High in Lamentations and the book of Hosea said that he would make us forget the Sabbaths, the feast days, and so on and so forth. Came, but now we are beginning to remember ourselves in the land of our captivity, right? According to Deuteronomy 30. And now that we're beginning to remember ourselves, or these things come to our remembrance, now we are seeking to do them, to show our Creator that even in the land of our captivity, that we will begin to call out to him, to seek him with our whole heart. And to seek something with your whole heart means to go at it as best you can, right? You may not be the fastest in the race, but you give it everything to where you reason just like you was in first place, because you gave it everything inside of you. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And my whole thought is now, in terms of, I guess as we speak it on the Shabbat, is trying to do it in a way where the Most High recognizes us. Another one of the big things is the concept of unity, right? Where there's a thought or a tradition that because we were a thought that we would not be able to come together or unify until the son of Daud comes. So why even try? These are the concepts or traditions that have been passed down from generation to generation that have left the nation stagnant. But as Adon Yirmiyahu said earlier, do they align with Scripture? And the only way you would know that is if you actually have your own relationship with the Creator in His Word. That's the only way that you would know. Adon Yirmiyahu.
Hallelujah. Torah Rabbah. Torah just for the lesson. These lessons are so important, just so we can constantly sharpen our tools, sharpen our iron. And I have a lot of respect for the return, right? Because they're coming from so many different angles out of this place of darkness and trying to return back to the Almighty. Devadim mentioned, bethink yourself in the land of your captivity, and I will turn your captivity from you, right? Think about, our journey before we made it to the promised land. He gave us the commandment of the Shabbat in the wilderness outside of the land. He gave us the ordinance of Pesach and Passover in the wilderness outside of the land. So yes, once we're home, we are able to really do it, holistically, but we have to get ready right now. Now is the time that we really prepare ourselves. So when the curtains are finally open and we're on stage, we're not out there fumbling. We've put in the work, we prepared ourselves, we bumped our heads, we learned from our mistakes, and now we're ready to serve the Almighty in truth and in righteousness. So I just say, Kazakh, be strong and courageous. As Moreh Daud just mentioned, always refer back to the Torah. If you know what's against the Torah, but we keep the Shabbat in all your dwellings throughout your generation. You have to really know what Yah has said and be very careful with man, because man sometimes will try to promote their agenda, like he pointed out with Jeroboam, and brought forth those politics. And sometimes we are very egotistic and we want people to do it the way that we say we should do it. But lean not on your own understanding. Continue to follow the Most High. And if we're wrong, Yah will, like even the offerings, when he mentioned the community sin as a whole, he's given us an opportunity to atone for that. And those times will come. But just have your ruach, your lave, all of that in the right place, and take yourself out of the equation. Don't think about it. Think about, okay, I'm serving the Most High. And respect to Moreh Alicia too. I know him personally. A lot of respect for him. I know the Cincinnati crew. My brother Moreh Elkanah down in Atlanta. I mean, those brothers, they have their position. I know what my position is, but at the end of the day, we're still family. We're brothers, and that's the way I carry it. So I yield with that, and I pray that everyone have a blessed week and just continue to serve Yah in truth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. In a Met, truth, Tadon. Going up there and meeting some of them brothers. Like you said, everybody has their position, but at the end of the day, we are Yisrael. And that was a very powerful jab in terms of even if the unity even goes to the aspect of sinning as a whole, right? There's an offering for a communal sin, which even shows more, right, that the Most High wants us unified. Like, even if y'all gonna do wrong, do it together, and in that way, I can correct all y'all at one time. So that's mess for you on it all. Shashamar.
Ken, Torah blessing. All praise to the Most High for allowing you to bring the lesson out, and also, everyone else to bring out their points. I definitely benefited from this lesson. The part that stood out was, just building a relationship with the Most High, keeping Torah as the foundation. Because I was thinking, during the week, and I was just thinking about, a lot of the things, that I come across in my life, and the things, that I see other people fall in, it just, a lot of these things can be easily avoided just by, memorizing, the 10 Commandments or the 10 words and just keeping it. A lot of the, the sins and the downfalls, can be easily be avoided just by, memorizing and understanding that section alone. So that's something I was thinking about during the week. Also, just thinking about, the whole concept of, everyone coming together, as one. And I was just thinking about, the condition of the world. And I was just thinking about, all the things that will have to be done to, bring people together. And then I was thinking about, there's going to be more work is going to have to be done just because, a lot of information has been lost. But one thing that I thought about, everything, it starts with myself first, So as long as I, do the most I can do, my personal life, that's, more strength, more wisdom that I can give, to the brother beside me. So all praise to the Most High. Yield.
Hey, hallelujah. Aki Aaron. Shalom.
Shalom. I just wanted to say, like, even though I wasn't here for the whole lesson, I did hear a few pointers that was being brought out. Throughout the text, you see that not everybody is perfect, but there are a lot of people in the text that put in the most work that they can, and I truly do feel like the Most High is pleased with the effort that we do put in. Even though we shouldn't get comfortable all the time, we should always try our best every single day. So praise the Most High for, giving us another day all the time. Well, giving us a day to always, make it right, Something I've been studying is Yah's will and his prospering thoughts for us. Not that I counted, but I just typed in the word prosper in the search bar of the CIFA app that I have, and the word prosper is mentioned throughout the text about more than 30 times, 40 times. And his will and his prosper for us is truly amazing. And just like Shashamar said, as long as we try our best and stay on track and stay focused, Yah is willing to extend his hand out to us, but we just can't get too comfortable and always remain on track. And I yield on that.
Okay. So when you draw to me, he will return to us. Right? He said he hid his face in Hosea. The Most High hid his face So he'll become a lion to the northern kingdom, young lion to the southern kingdom, and he's gonna hide his face from us. He said he's going back to his, to his place until we get right. And another aspect on the unity that Don Yirmiyahu was speaking of, when you look at Ezekiel chapter 37, Valley of the Dry Bones, you don't hear about David until the bones come together. In that sequence, the bones, the army stands up, then the two sticks are put together, then the son of Daud, or Daud, the prince, comes. So without the unity or the unification of the body of the nation, there is no redemption. Which means, as Adon also said, right, Proverbs 3, lean not on your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge Yahuwah, and he shall direct thy path. We as a nation must do that, which starts, as Shah and Aaron said, individually. Then it comes to the community in which we worship. This right here is a very powerful call because we have multiple assemblies or multiple communities coming together in order to break bread, which is the goal, right? So, all in all, I say Torah Rabbah to the Most High for all y'all, for all the Akeem online and those who couldn't be here. Sorry, Yosef. Shalom, Akeem.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me pretty well, Moreh? Can. First and foremost, you already know, total blessing. Very thought-provoking. Can. I don't even know how I can follow up with these brothers, man. They're on point. But I would say for me, the walk that the Most High has put me on right now is identifying and removing wedges out of my life. I've been kind of talking about this a little bit with the brothers here that I come in contact with. And that's kind of like the lens that I see things a little bit through now. So everything that I'm hearing, everything that's been talked about amongst the brothers today has been just identifying those wedges that are in our lives. First in our lives, pointing to myself first, in order to change the world. I remember I was talking to Mahak about the story about the person that wanted to change the world, wanted to immediately change the world, but recognized he couldn't do it. Recognized he couldn't do it through the country. Recognized he couldn't do it through the county, through the city, through his own home, until he recognized that he had to first change himself. So that should be the drumbeat right there. As far as wanting to change, you have to first that has to initiate with you, the individual, first. So that's just for myself. The Most High is working with me as far as removing wedges, identifying them, helping others identify them, to where we can come to that unified front. I like what you said as far as like even when you're even sinning together, saying that shows the type of bond that can't be really measured. I very much enjoy that concept. Even when it's even through the bad, we should still be connected in one way, shape, or another. Again, total blessing, Moreh. Keep on bringing those thoughts together. Keep on bringing them together. I'll yield.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Khan. All praise to the Most High. This is the goal, and this is still Pesach season. The wedges, the leaven, the pride, the aspect of just blindly following, all of these things have to be removed in order for us to advance to the next levels in Yah. It's not just about one man. It's never been about just one man. The Most High proved that with Moshe. So if that's the case, then it has to be a collective thought and a collective effort. And the only way to do that is to, as you said, change ourselves, help each other know what to change and how to change, and then go forth as a sifted and purified people, starting with the heads of the households or the heads as far as the Anashim. So are there any other comments, questions, or Anything on anybody else's lid? Okay. Mr. D. That's the case. Pray that the Most High has allowed this to touch each and every one of us in one way in order for us to grow. We will pray out. Yeah, we'll pray out for the night, and then we'll go from there. If I don't, Yirmiyahu, could you pray us out?
Okay. Hallelujah. Nishtakawe Alecha. We bow down before thee. Hamelech Hagadol, even the great King. Hunatatalanu Hatorah Teka, who gave us your law. Hakukwim Shokha, your statutes. Mizvot Shokha, your commandments. Umishpaktim Shokha, and your judgments. May we follow thee in truth. May we follow thy paths, thy halakha. Even the righteous path that you have given us to be sons of men, even on this earth. We thank you for awakening us. We thank you for sharing with us La Torah. I pray to thee, O great King, that you will continue to instill in us a new heart and a new mind, that we will follow thee in truth. Bless our unity, bless our togetherness. We pray that you will continue to correct us in measure, but please never utterly destroy us. As thou hast mentioned that as long as you never break the covenant with day and night, that Israel will never cease from being a people before thee, O great King on high. And it's truly an honor, truly a blessing to know thy name, to know thy ways. And I pray that we will only grow before you in a righteous manner, that we will not allow our pride and our arrogance to take us off the deep end, but that you'll continue to humble us, that you'll continue to show us the way. I pray that you'll continue to bless the Moreh, the teachers, even thy shepherds who thou have called, that they will lead the flock in truth, O great King on high. Pray that you'll bless this night, that we'll have peaceful rest, that no danger or harm will befall any of us or our homes. I pray that you'll give us the strength to rise up in the morning to continue to provide for our family, that you'll continue to make a way in the wilderness, that you'll bring forth the water, even the fountains of living water, that we'll be able to partake of the goodness that you have in store. Bless us to always have a spirit to want to give back, to help, to serve at the highest level that we can. Allow us not to be selfish, and allow us not to think so much of ourselves, to be selfless, and to be a people that will glorify you with everything that we do. Blessed be thy name, O great King, on high, and blessed be those who come in thy name. For thou art great and highly to be praised. Pray that you'll bless this night and remember us for your high and holy name's sake. Glory and honor, kavod alecha, le'olam wa'ed, glory to thee, forever and ever. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Torah Rabba Akeem.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Okay. Akeem, like I told, and the Most I continue to barak each and every one of our weeks. And we have gift study on this. Well, we won't have gift study. I'll be traveling. So until next Shabur, Most High willing, Lekum Yah.
Sarabah. Salatov.